This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danish Kamadavala and read by Niranjan Abesundara. Department of Agriculture Development says that more than 70% of vouchers have been issued to the relevant farmers by yesterday. Agriculture Minister Mahindra Amravira said government has reduced fertilizer prices by 78%. Minister Dr. Bandar Gulnamadhan said that Railway Department must be converted into an authority to avoid privatization. Third stage of the first school term of this year begins tomorrow. Sri Lanka foreign worker remittances recorded at $480 million in May 2023. Power and Energy Minister says that fuel available island-wide without any shortage. In world news, Zelensky says Ukraine counter-offensive actions have begun. In sports news, tears shed as Man City conquer Champions League mountain. Department of Agriculture Development says that more than 70% of vouchers have been issued to the relevant farmers by yesterday. This was revealed when Agriculture Minister Mahindra Amravira inquired into the progress of the relevant program recently. Meanwhile, the minister said government has reduced fertilizer prices by 78%. This will benefit 600,000 engaged in paddy cultivation during the Yala season. A 50 kilo bag of urea fertilizer sold at 40,000 rupees will be reduced to 9,000 rupees by next week. The government has provided fertilizer at cultural rates to farmers to encourage rice production to avoid rice surplus and minimize farmers' production costs since the last Yala season. A bag of 50 kilo urea fertilizer, which was 40,000 rupees, was given to farmers at 10,000 rupees under the program. The price will be further reduced to 9,000 rupees from next week. The government reduced the fertilizer price, and a 50 kilo bag of urea fertilizer in the open market had dropped to 11,000 rupees. Government has provided triple phosphate to farmers free when the 50 kilo mud fertilizer bag was sold at 22,000 rupees in the open market during the Yala season. The government has also taken steps to reduce the price of a 50 kilo bag of muriate potash by 4,500 rupees during the Yala season. Earlier price was 19,500 rupees. Minister Dr. Bandar Gulnamadhan said the Railway Department must be converted into an authority to avoid privatization. The minister made the remarks while addressing the annual general meeting of the Railway Engine Drivers Association. The minister said there are many changes to be made in the transportation sector, but those who cannot be performed due to their financial difficulties. The minister pointed out the Railway Department has become an inefficient organization in terms of financial accounting. The minister said that this is impossible to develop as an organization without facts and figures. Education Minister Dr. Susil Premajanta said that 4,718 vacancies of principal service will be filled by next month. Relevant interviews are now being held and expected to be completed by Thursday. The minister also said that 7,500 teachers from NAP will be recruited on Friday. Measures will be taken to recruit 26,000 trainees who are currently working in the government service after subjecting them to an examination. Approval to recruit 6,000 teachers for mathematics, science, technology and language will be obtained within the next 2 weeks. National schools and provincial schools will be given permission for that. If the legal processings are completed, we can soon recruit 26,000 teachers, the minister said. Meanwhile, the third stage of the first school term of this year will begin tomorrow. A dengue control program has been implemented in schools in this weekend prior to the opening of schools. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Digital accounts can now be opened in 10 minutes. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanakar said Sri Lanka foreign work remittances recorded $80 million in May 2023. With the May figures, total value of remittances recorded for the year 2023 was recorded at $2.347 billion compared to $1.335 billion received in 2022 during the same period. The minister further said that further $150 million in required monthly remittance reached the pre-crisis levels. He further said that government is working towards making Sri Lanka a high-skilled export hub. Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara said consumers can get fuel from filling stations all over the island without any shortage. The minister said on his Twitter account that enough fuel stocks have been released to all island-wide filling stations so far. Posting the data from island-wide fuel stations, the dealership during the last 10 days, the minister tweeted that the island-wide total purchases of petrol 92 and Lanka Auto Diesel by Sepetco dealership has normalized and all products are available island-wide. According to Mr. Wijayasekara has said that the daily fuel distribution activities are going on as usual and there is no shortage of fuel at any filling station in the island. That ends local news.
Debit card, mobile and internet banking and cardless cash accounts can now be opened in just 10 minutes with no form filling bank digital banking.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
President Wickremesinghe said it is the aim of the government to really maximize the contribution to achieve the development goals of the country. Sri Lanka's unique culinary art has attracted tourists from all over the island and maximum government support will be extended to this promotion, the President mentioned. The President made the statement while declaring open the Culinary Art Food Expo 2023 recently at Bandaranaike Memorial International Conference Hall premises in Colombo. Chefs Guild of Lanka organizes the culinary art and food exhibition, which showcases the talent of culinary artists from all over Sri Lanka. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On to Watchlight, householders who don't keep their premises and gardens free from mosquito breeding grounds will be fined from next week, as the dengue fever is spreading rapidly in the country. Runagala DMO SMA Priyadarshana told the local media that several religious places have been found to have mosquito larvae in their premises, and those in charge of such places will be fined for not keeping their places free from mosquito breeding grounds. He said around 1,158 householders are fined during the past 3 months for having mosquito breeding grounds in their premises. DMO said about 2,004 PHIs and 8,000 family health nurses will be applied from tomorrow to visit houses to ensure that their premises are kept free from mosquito breeding grounds. From January this year, nearly 40,000 positive dengue cases have been reported to the Health Ministry, of whom 26 had died. Health Ministry has identified Colombo and Gampa as the districts that reported the most number of cases. The 6 emergency divisions have been identified as the most risky dengue zones. And on to world news. Ukraine counter-offensive actions have begun, Zelensky says. Donald Trump calls indictment ridiculous and baseless in Georgia speech. Gladiator sequel crew members injured in stunt sequence on set. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky appears to have confirmed that his country's long-awaited counteroffensive against Russia has started. Counteroffensive and defensive actions are taking place, he said, but he added that he will not talk in detail about which state the counteroffensive was in. The comments come as after the escalation of fighting in the south and east of Ukraine and speculation about progress of the widely anticipated push. Ukrainian troops are reported to have advanced east near Bakhmut and in the south near Zaporizhzhia and also carried out long-range strikes on Russian targets, but assessing that the reality on the front lines is difficult with two warring sides presenting contrasting narratives. Ukraine claiming progress and Russia that it is fighting off attacks. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has called the federal indictment against him ridiculous and baseless in his first public appearance since the charges were announced. A 37-count indictment made public on Friday accuses him of keeping sensitive documents at his Mar-a-Lago property. Indictment amounted to election interference by the corrupt FBI and Justice Department, he said on Saturday. He denied any wrongdoing, but Trump has been charged with mishandling hundreds of classified documents, including some about U.S. nuclear secrets and military plans. Indictment accused him of keeping the files at his Florida estate Mar-a-Lago, including in a ballroom and a shower. He lied to investigators and tried to obstruct an investigation into his handling of the documents, indictments alleged. Several crew members filming the Gladiator sequel in Morocco have been injured in a stunt accident on set. Film production company Paramount Pictures said the injuries were non-life-threatening and happened while shooting a planned stunt sequence. The crew members were all in stable condition and continued to receive treatment, the statement said. Earlier this week, the Sun reported there had been an explosion and 6 people went to hospital. According to Variety, no cast members were injured. About 6 people received treatment for burn injuries and 4 remain in hospital. Back to the headlines of the world news. Ukraine counter-offensive actions have begun, Zelensky says. Donald Trump called indictment ridiculous and baseless in Georgia's speech. Gladiator sequel crew members injured in stunt set. That was world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Desha Sri Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
The Hambantota International Port will be entering the tourism mix of Indian cruise ships with an agreement of 13 ship calls to the port between June and September this year. CEO Hambantota International Port Group said they are positioning the port to several categories of cruise ships, from luxury liners to all-inclusive budget and low-budget carriers. He also said, with 17-meter depth HIP can accommodate any cruise liner in the world, and as new and modern port, they are well geared to handle the needs of ships, crew and passengers, immigration, customs and secure passenger services. Cordelia Cruise Lines, which offer holiday packages to Indian international travelers, kicked off cruise packages from Chennai with a maiden call of Empress at HIP. Ship carrying 745 passengers will cover 3 major destinations on the island. That was Development News.
Vacancies for women from Desha Sri Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salary starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 7500 500.
On to sports news. Manchester City's long request to win the Champions League finally ended in triumph against Inter Milan in Istanbul, as Pep Guardiola's side completed the treble. After winning the Premier League and FA Cup, City emulated Manchester United's triple trophy haul in 1999 as they became the only second English club to achieve the feat after Roderick Crisp's 68-minute strike settled an additional final. Guardiola's all-conquering side were never at their best against brilliantly organised Inter and had to cope with the loss of Kevin De Bruyne to injury in the first half. But the mass ranks of City fans inside Atuk Stadium did not care about that, and they joyously celebrated the greatest night and season in the club's history. That was Sports News.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Meta has shown staff plans for a text-based social network designed to compete with Twitter. Sources have told the BBC it could allow users to follow accounts they already follow on Instagram, Meta's image-sharing app, and it could potentially allow them to bring over followers from decentralized platforms such as Mastodon. A Meta spokesman confirmed the BBC that platform was in development. That was Development News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news, UK firms could gain access to US green funding as part of plans to boost UK and US ties announced by Rishi Sunak and Joe Biden. The pair unveiled the Atlantic Declaration to strengthen economic ties between the two countries at a White House press conference. The PM said the agreement, which falls short of a full trade deal, would brief benefits as quickly as possible. UK electric car firms may get access to US green tax credits and subsidies. The pair unveiled their partnership to bolster economic security, but Sunak said UK-US relationship was an indispensable alliance. Atlantic Declaration includes commitments on easing trade barriers, closer defense industry ties, and data protection deals, and steps up cooperation on AI.
Weather report.
And now to the weather. Showers and showers will occur at times in the western and Sabaragawa provinces and in the Gaur and Madhara districts. Fairly heavy showers of 50 millimeters are likely at some places in the Sabaragawa province and the Gaur, Madhara, Colombo and Kaltara districts. Slow spells of showers may occur in the northwestern province and in Kandy and Norelia districts. Showers and showers will occur at several places in the Uva province and Ampa and Batticaloa district during the evening or night. That was the weather report, and back to the headlines of the news. Department of Agriculture Development says that more than 70% of vouchers have been issued to the relevant farmers by yesterday. Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amravira said the government has reduced fertilizer prices by 78%. Mr. Dr. Bandar Gurabadra said the Railway Department must be converted into an authority to avoid privatization. Third stage of the first school term of this year begins tomorrow. Sri Lanka foreign work remittances were recorded at $480 million in May 2023. Power and Energy Minister says that fuel is available island-wide without any shortage. In world news, Zelensky says Ukraine counter-offensive actions have begun. And in sports news, tears shed as Man City conquer Champions League mountain. That ends the afternoon news.